Hello everyone, welcome to our webinar today. We have Ravi Trivedi and Julio here. So let me introduce Ravi. Ravi is the CEO and founder of Push Engage. Ravi is also a growth marketer himself. So some engaging session on social media.
All right, so thanks, Sharon. I'll just go through a 30-second quick intro of Push Engage and then hand over to Julia. We have an amazing guest today. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to those who are joining us, and thanks for being here. So Push Engage is a web push notification platform serving customers in over 150 countries. We're doing 5 to 6 billion push notifications, and we have a ton of customers who love us. So that's just about us. It's used as a re-engagement channel for e-commerce and for content sites and for a variety of sites. And again, the topic today is engagement. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Julia. But before that, I was going to share that we have a couple of poll questions just to kind of figure out a better sense of how you do social media engagement. So let me introduce Julia. Julia is a keynote speaker, consultant, a TED Talk speaker, and a Forbes top 30 influencer on social media and digital sales. He's also a marketing professor at TRU and Kamloops. He has worked with a number of Fortune 500 brands to develop, implement, and build national and digital, global, and social media practices. So over to you. Thanks for being here. It's all yours now.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. And to everyone, thank you for joining, whether you're in Europe, India, Canada, US, all over the world, global. Thank you for joining us. For me, it's nice and early here in Canada, 6:30 in the morning. Hopefully it's everyone's had a great week, great quarter, and ultimately a great good start to your years. So thank you very much for the introduction. You hit it on the spot. There's not much more for me to add other than enjoy my time with everybody here today. We're going to talk about emerging best practices to increase social media engagement this year in 2020 and going forward. So we will cover it in a way that we'll talk about algorithms first. What are they? Understanding what a social media algorithm is. And what are the major changes that each algorithm has done in 2020. Then we'll talk about rules of engagement on social media. So what's the best way to engage on each of those social networks? I'll give some tips and tricks for each. And then we will take a look at each of the social networks themselves and talk about their algorithm and best practices for engagement. So that'll be a really good part. You might want to think about what social network you currently are using to reach your consumer base and follow some of the tips and tricks to see how you can change your content and approach to social media to have more engagement on your pages and posts this coming year. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. What are social media algorithms? Well, if you haven't done so yet or haven't had a chance to really dig into what an algorithm is, as a marketer, you definitely need to know that. And in our case, talking about social media, it's a calculation that essentially looks at your different posts and different pages that you have and decides, how they're going to rank those posts for other people. So in other words, are you following the best practices that an algorithm is providing? So that they can calculate and say, this is a great post, it's doing well, it should be in everybody's timeline, they should see it. Here's some of the posts that have been the most engaged upon. Therefore, you should focus on these pieces and share those out and gain more engagement. And we'll talk about that going forward. So top factors in terms of social media algorithms are the amount of engagement that each piece has received. Especially within a short time frame. So the more that your post is getting in terms of likes, comments, retweets, whatever that looks like, within a short period of time from you putting out that post, the algorithm will usually detect that and say, this post looks engaging, therefore we should show it to other people on our timeline as well. And also how often people tend to engage with our content in general. So the more people like our content, activate themselves on our content, whether again that's like thumbs up, love, heart, comment, etc. The more they do that, the more they'll see our posts in the future. So it's very key that we take these details very seriously and build them into our content. And of course, analytics that we should be considering, definitely engagement and impressions. So you can basically take your likes and comments on each post and divide them by your reach or impressions on that post, and ultimately multiply by 100. That'll give you your engagement rate. Most social networks have those built in the analytics for you. So it's very easy to see that. Whether it's a Facebook Insights page, your Twitter Analytics page, they're all going to tell you exactly what those scores are. So you don't have to do this yourself, of course. Engagement and followers is a big one. And you want to focus on quality over quantity. So finding tools that are better for us, that are going to be appealing, that are colorful, that are branded nice, they're on point with our colors, with the colors from our website, the colors of our content, it all matches. Then you'll find yourself with a much more robust Instagram feed, Twitter feed, Facebook page, and social media presence everywhere. My personal website favorite for this department is canva.com. It's a great designing platform that's free to use. They do have some templates that are based on a subscription model, but honestly, I've never used a payment processor over there. I go there, use it for free, and I've been building all of my images on Canva for the past 5 or 6 years now. It's been fantastic. Engagement is definitely king. So all over the world, we can all agree, no matter where we're sitting this morning or this evening or this afternoon, you are probably using Facebook as some form of engagement or some form of lead generation or automation for your company. So we'll definitely talk about that. You'll ultimately try and reward participations. And some of those rewards are through engagement and interactions with your posts, your brand, and your followers. And if your content ultimately doesn't get a lot of engagement, or if it does, when it's initially posted, then it's likely that Instagram or Facebook or whichever other feed will lower it in a priority. So therefore, bottom line, you want to focus on content that draws in your community, pulls them into your post, and builds meaningful connection with your followers. So how are your posts coming together and interacting on your Facebook posts? So the more engagement is going to tell you that they like this type of content. So therefore, you should create this type of content more and more and more. So whether it's a post with video, and we're going to talk about this as we go, what's the best form of engaging content, but it's going to vary between all of our businesses and what our customers ultimately like the most. So what are the reasons that people use social media? So there's 3 main reasons that someone would use social media. Number 1, to connect with other people. Number 2, to learn about their interests or be educated about something, and that includes business users as well. A lot of people find their news on Facebook. Or 3, to be entertained. So you as a brand, you have to find out what your mix is there. What's drawing my brand community together, and I should give them that kind of mix of content. So mix up your content based on your analytics. Like I said, are people liking or engaging with a lot of video posts? Do they like polls? That usually draws a lot of generation and talk. So I like to run a poll each week, things like that. So do have a look at what content's driving more engagement. You can see on the left what I found through analytics has been the following. So people are loving entertainment a lot, posts that are very inspirational, posts that teach you how to do something or how to use something, posts that tell a story, or any discounts and sales. And I do encourage you to be very careful about how you use your platforms for sales specifically. Social media is typically not the place you hard sell too much, but hey, depending on your e-commerce business, that could actually be the number 1 place that you're actually getting your customers from. So if you're B2B, you're probably going to still be using Facebook, not as much as you would be LinkedIn, for example. But if you're B2C, there's a good chance that you'll be living in Facebook. Stay on top of trends. So know what is being said out there in the economy about your brand, and also just about different things. So this is one of my favorites. It's called Grapevine 6. And what Grapevine 6 allows you to do over here on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see that I'm getting posts pumped to me Like what are the most engaged with posts right now around innovation, user experience, sales process, social media. So I'm getting posts that are third-party posts that I'm not actually creating myself. So in conjunction with your first-party post that you're doing, use a tool like Grapevine 6 to actually help you figure out what third-party experience you want to deliver to your customers as well. It's really cool. You can add filters in, like add your competitors and stuff like that into it, so that ultimately you can figure out and get content that passes through not only just the professional terms, but also individualized terms, so they're not mentioning any of your competitors or anything like that. So a great post here around social selling that came out on B2C community. So something like that is what I would be sharing out on my side. Therefore, trying to get my community engaged on posts. It's a very nice site for that. Push Engage, who brought us together here today. Also a very nice platform. I've been enjoying my time using the platform, which is fantastic. So good for everyone who's on the webinar, who's checking that out. It's a great website that allows you to actually engage with your customers in real time in terms of finding out what posts they might be interested in, and therefore you jumping out and putting out those posts. Again, I went through a great demo yesterday and going to be using it this week, and it's going to give me that level of engagement that I haven't had on my mobile for quite some time. So again, Push Engage, a great little spot that allows you to build out notifications to capture your users, look at them, find out what they're engaging with, develop custom notifications, or whether it's life cycle or purchase stage notifications as well. So let's look at how Facebook algorithm works in 2020. So the algorithm signals in 2020, where we'll be looking at how who a user typically interacts with. That is also a big one we'll see on Facebook and across the board. The type of media that they're looking at, so whether it's a video, a link, an image, whatever that might be, and also the popularity of the post. So those are the three big sort of recipe mixtures that go into Facebook's current recipe for 2020. All right, so just to quickly go over 9 ways to engage on Facebook. You want to start conversations that get people talking to each other. You want to post when your audience is online the most. That just makes sense, right? So when your content should be going out is when your user base is online the most as well. Never post content that will get you downranked. So just like Google, you should avoid content that's going to be negative to your SEO. It's the same thing on Facebook. You want them geared towards your engagement. Post high quality videos longer than 3 minutes. We'll talk about that in the future. I hope you have a strategy to focus on live content. Post often, post consistently, leverage Facebook groups that are very meaningful to your audience and allow them to engage around your products when you're not there, or maybe you are, but it gives them a place that they can live and enjoy themselves in talking around your audience interests. It could be business or non-business. Support your organic approach with paid ads as well. We call these unicorn posts. So any posts that are doing really well as far as engagement, you want to boost those posts with a little bit of money, therefore getting in front of a bunch of more eyeballs and therefore creating what we call a snowball effect on your content. And that's how content goes viral. And that's typically how I would make a post go viral if I was to have a strategy. Let your followers also know how to prioritize your content in their news feeds. So tell them when a post is going out that you want them to chime in on. If you're running a poll, if you're brought a new product out, to leave comment on it, what they'd like to see in the future, etc., and empower your people to advocate for you. So find a way that actually delivers your social media content to different people in your company and incentivize them to be advocates for you. Or other folks that are good customers of yours, send them over your social media posts as well and let them share and talk about your company and brand. All right, so If we look at what performs best on Facebook, right now it's currently native video. So video being posted directly to your timeline. Photos are doing well. Live video is actually doing really, really well. And also just links is underperforming everything, but also a good way to drive people to your website is obviously include a link. So sometimes that's useful that you can to include a link as well. So use videos more. So that's one thing we can look at and say, okay, video is clearly the most easiest way to engage with your users or get them talking. You can ask them or let them know what you want them to do with your content. So add video in. So video has continued to climb in the last few years, meaning it's likely likely a video will outperform your average photo posts or link posts, etc. So add more videos to your content calendar and don't be afraid to go live. Live video engagement is twice as high as overall engagement on many of the other posts on your platform. Okay, jumping into LinkedIn. Instagram. LinkedIn we'll talk about later. For Instagram users, things that you want to care about are how your users have enjoyed certain types of posts in the past. The algorithm is going to change and likely show the type of posts that you're going to create for them in the future. So based on the likelihood they are to engage with your content, you need to follow that algorithm change year to year to year and change those accordingly to create good posts that are engaging. And make sure you're timely. Post when people are recent or engaging with your post. What time of day? Is it morning? Is it afternoon? Is it evening? Figure out what your most engaged time slot is with your users and post your most important content at that time. So it's likely that they'll see your content. So this means post when you're online. So the old-fashioned way is still a great way for Instagram as well as Facebook and many of the other networks that we'll look at. But ask questions. Still a great way to engage and kind of force people's mouths open and engage with your piece. So ask questions, whether that's through polls or just questions in general, etc. Good way to gather people's answers. So we can do this by creating what we call good captions on your post. So those tiny little bit of letters or numbers or whatever you want to put with your post, that's a good place to actually pose a question and get people to start engaging. Embrace your DMs. Make sure that you are engaging with customers through direct messages, because that will help you as well figure out things about them and give a personal feel to your brand. So don't be afraid to DM with your customers as well. That also factors into engagement, into the algorithm engagement rates that they are doing with your brand. So it does focus in on messaging as well. Reply to comments as quick as you can. So I don't care whether it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, but reply to your comments as quick as they come in, as best as you can. And people will see that, and it will be impressive, not to that just individual, but everybody who sees it. And they're going to be all over that. They like that you're there with them. So the more that you jump on things quickly, the more engagement you're going to get in the future. People love engaged brands and will engage with you more for that reason. And don't be afraid to like and comment on other people's posts as well. So that's almost like a signal that you provide to them that essentially says, hey, I like your content. Why don't you like ours too? So as providing they're not a competitor and they align with your brand and maybe they're part of your community, don't be afraid to comment or to drop a like on their post too. So here's a great little spot in Vancouver. So this was done by a blogger who focuses on different restaurants in Vancouver. So I thought this was a really nice photo that they took while they were there. And obviously the title is what you see is what you're going to get in the article. So I'm going to probably go through and look at some of their images here in their gallery and see visually what some of the best food joints are in Vancouver. And it's very likely that if I see one that I have been to, I'll jump in and engage with it. You can see on the right-hand side, there is a great engagement going on here. And you can see a lot of the best practices that we talked about are being employed here. So the definition of, what does this restaurant do for their customers? What type of food do they serve, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, a shout out to one of their users for being one of the better photo snappers in the group, as well as much more engagement on their posts. They typically get a ton of engagement together throughout their food group that goes out and posts these each week. So a great little place is Nikita Traveled on Instagram. So if you want to use a customer who has an employee's best practices, obviously that is a nice spot for you. All right, so what is about their algorithm? So it prioritizes the highest number of likes, yes. So it prioritizes recent posts. So the closest moment you are from your fans being online, it's going to prioritize that content. So recency. It will prioritize posts from profiles that a user normally engages with. So hopefully you have ongoing engagement with your consumers, or you're going to try going forward this year. Prioritize posts from a hashtag that users follow. So see what users are following and make sure you use those to drive your hashtag strategy as well. And it is believed to treat brands' content and consumers' content. So yes, it is about your brand, and it's also about getting your consumers to post content that they've, maybe that's how they've used your product, how they're using it, best places to eat, coolest shoe that they've ever used, best pizza place that they've tried. Engage with your fans and welcome them to co-create content with you. So 8 tips I can offer you. Post consistently. Use your analytics and make sure you have a business account to see your analytics. Remix, reuse, and repost top performing content. Reward your audience for spreading the words by using user-generated content as much as you can. Collaborate with like minds in your industry, and you can share each other's photos. Build quality relationships the old-fashioned way. We talked about that. Use hashtags properly and post in a timely manner to when your users are online. So LinkedIn, as far as we can tell, very B2B driven, but again, B2C customers are not going to use it. They've made some interesting priorities this year. So they've decided to prioritize content from users who have engaged with your posts in the past and who post consistently. So they're looking at that. They're looking at prioritizing content from users who get a large amount of engagement. So the more engagement you get, the more LinkedIn's going to promote your post to other users. So if you don't have a lot of engagement now, employ some of the best practices on LinkedIn and some of the other networks and get higher amounts of engagement. And I think you'll come to find that your posts are getting some traction. They also favor posts that have lengthy comments or a high volume and high volume of reactions. So the more that people react and comment on your posts, the more you'll actually have on a reach standpoint, so more eyeballs to your post. And does not prioritize content from business pages. So just remember that their algorithm really focuses on content from users, not so much Facebook pages. Obviously, yes, you want to post content to your pages as well, but make sure that your users are on social media and on LinkedIn particularly. If you have any B2B in your selling apparatus, you definitely want to be on there posting content directly. All right, so 3 tips for winning on LinkedIn in 2020. So 3 tips I can offer you to get more engagement and eyeballs on your product or your posts is utilize the business owner and profiles to post out, not just the business page. Post different types of content, so mix it up again, see what's working for you. I think you're going to find that text, images, and video will be used in some proportion, and whichever one is getting the best impact, start to prioritize that more. Stay consistent. Do not forget to post. Make sure you're there at posting at least once a day on LinkedIn, even on Saturdays if you can. Stay consistent. It's definitely going to downgrade if you post randomly versus posting consistently. So if you're posting once per week, it seems to be, once per day on LinkedIn, 1, 2, maybe 3 times maximum, but I would not go over 3 times. And it seems to be the sweet spot for you. So find that out using analytics. I say obligatory Twitter slide because I think Twitter has been a spot that maybe has probably not driven you a ton of engagement back to your websites, which we ultimately want, and delivers a lot of engaging posts, but still a very useful social network, especially to share your content on and disseminate it and see which is performing best, because you can post there 2 to 8 to 10 times per day. They don't actually downgrade you for posting too much, where the other social networks will definitely downgrade you if you're not socializing and posting on it. So utilize all 280 characters if you can in certain posts, especially when you're using something very informative. Ask questions to get engagement. Twitter has obviously implemented a poll structure, so I would like to do a poll maybe once a month, and I find those get quite a bit of engagement. And again, you want to immediately respond to your post. So within the first 2 to 3 hours of sending out a tweet, you're going to see an immediate response to it. Twitter definitely looks at that and says, okay, well, if you are responding or engaging with content quickly, then it must be very interesting and engaging. Therefore, I'm going to show this to more people, therefore creating a snowball effect about engagement. Okay, YouTube. So YouTube, definitely a place that you're going to want to be at some place. It might be your marketing team, or it might be you, who knows, but we will have a look at YouTube. So what has YouTube done as far as the algorithm updates for 2020? So they've done a few changes. So the YouTube algorithm is going to continue to factor in a user's likelihood of engaging with your channel and the type of content you post. That's why you find so many pieces of content that start off by, hey everyone, if you like my content, please make sure you subscribe to my page. Comment down below, what do you think is going to be the most exciting trend in this topic for this year? And of course, hit that bell and subscribe button to make sure you stay notified of our new content that's coming out. So that is going to continue to factor in a user's likelihood of engaging with your posts. They'll probably show more people those engagement rates. So in 2020, also look at your relationships with your subscribers will be very, very important. So your relationship instead of your number. So who cares about how many users you're getting to see your post? That's great if you have lots of people who are watching it, but focus more on the quality instead of the quantity this year. And their algorithm is going to actually do the same. So look to engage with customers by building your relationship, and really post a question to them at the beginning of the video so that they can think about it. And while the video unfolds, they might come up with a great idea and jump down in the comments and actually leave you something nice in that notification box. So I definitely think that that's a good thing to do. And lastly, make sure that your subscribers understand the theme of your channel. Make sure that they know what you're posting and when they can expect a post from you. So are you posting always new product content? Do you have a time where you're putting up a vlog or a marketing blog or video that you might do, a podcast or anything like that? Always make sure that those go out on the same days and the same times, so users start to get a feel for the consistency of your content. So again, you'll notice that again, we see another channel focusing on consistency of the content. So make sure that you know when your users are going to watch it. Is it morning, noon, or night? And make sure you put that content out and get them to engage and act on your post, whether that's by giving you a follow, whether it's by giving you a like, or it's leaving a comment in your comments below. So tips for winning on YouTube. Let's talk about those for a second. So 1 to 2 minutes into your videos, you might ask your viewers, again, I talked about this, hit your like button or comment if they're enjoying the video, therefore you're increasing their engagement. Number 2, SEO optimize all of your content. So what do I mean by that? Well, YouTube gives the availability of you when you upload a video, as you all know, if you're a YouTube user, that you can put in hashtags or categories for your video. You want to make sure that you really SEO that engagement and optimize each video. In the titles and the description of your video, make sure you put in all the right keywords that will match up with what your customers like and what they're currently using and watching, and you're going to find that your content will perform much better. Write meaningful comments on videos in your niche, so make sure that you're posting. Now YouTube allows us to post as content creators, so make sure that you're posting comments and questions, not only on your channel itself, but in general to your community, to have others start talking about you. So use a lot more than that. And that way you can do it by having your users see things in your feed or their feed, not theirs. It would be theirs, but they will see content from you, and it isn't necessarily you getting them to visit your channel. So while you're doing between posts or between videos, take some time to actually post using YouTube's posting structure. Use the other marketing channels like Instagram, like Twitter, like LinkedIn, to drive videos directly to YouTube. So if that's the platform you want people on and collecting analytics on your specific product, make sure you're posting that video on all of your other social networks to drive people there the first few hours that your video goes up. And then you might want to follow that video with a couple spliced smaller versions of the video, or different sort of optimized content for other channels, pushing people to your YouTube video during those first few hours, because recency is very important on YouTube. Post when your audience is online. And make the first few seconds of your video and the first few minutes of your video very, very engaging and to the point. Don't ramble, especially if if you talk too much or trip over your words too much. What's going to happen is you don't have good ranked content, and you're going to see higher bouncing rates. So people want to get into a video. They want to actually feel you speaking. They want you to, be a part of their life or experience. So if you are not engaging online and you don't get directly to the point and you ramble too much, what's going to happen is you'll have higher bounce rates. So do be very focused on those first few seconds so that users can want to actually get to your content instead of sit through an ad. And if they have to sit through an ad, they'll be more likely to if you're posting such type of content. And again, be to the point as much as your content can, because you want to value your users' time, and YouTube is a great way to provide meaningful, useful content in 2020, but make sure you don't ramble. Which brings us to the end, everybody. So I hope we got through that in a reasonable amount of time today. I know it could be early in the morning for some of us that have got online, but for everyone else, I would love to just take a few minutes and throw it over to anyone and see if there are any questions at the end. And I would love to help and take some of your questions.
Tabs, you can.
All right, so we have a few here that have come up. Let's see if we address some of these. How to recover when your social media is on the bad side of algorithm? So that's a great question, Raul. Thank you for that question. And me personally, that's the worst place you're kind of in, because you started to derank yourself. Therefore, what you're going to have to do is a lot of extra work and probably have to use monetization, because you've already trained the algorithm to not feed your posts to your consumers. So the only thing you can do is make sure that when you start following better practices, and this happened to a lot of businesses who just have policies that weren't effective in the past, and therefore they got stuck in this rut of not being able to recover from that. So what you're going to have to do is be certain that you have to, you know how to create good content now, and then start posting it and boosting those posts to people on your page so it re-engages them. And then they get excited because all of a sudden they forgot about you and your post stops showing up in front of their algorithm in their face. Therefore, you're going to re-engage them with a little bit. It's going to cost you a little bit of money, but you're going to get in front of them and get them activated again and start to have a good audience members. And then obviously I love that. So that was a great question. And I'll just go in order here and I'll come up and take them as they're coming in. Apart from keywords and hashtags, do keywords and caption also matter for your business page or for your Instagram page in general? They do for engagement. So captions are very important. Keywords and captions aren't important at all, but they're important to drive engagement. It's not something that Instagram is looking at the moment. They're looking at more recency of posts and engagement rate of the posts. So it's going to help with engagement. So yes, it's extremely important to use captions to drive engagement by asking a question, for example, but not so much that you might have to handle by way of actually working keywords into captions. I'd be far more concerned about getting keywords that drive engagement and then jump into to utilizing them that way. But that's a great question. How do you deal with negative comments or brand reputation crisis? Great question, Tabassum. So the best way is to be honest and transparent. That's what people are looking for these days. They want honesty and they want transparency. So if someone posts a negative comment, don't just leave it there because you're letting others take control of the narrative. If people had a bad experience with you, then people are going to be curious about how did you respond to it. They're going to see if you responded at all, first of all, and then they're going to see what did you respond back to. Did you blame the customer, or did you try and win them back by offering them perhaps a discount or a deal or to try your product again? And I think that is the best way to deal with looking at recovering on the side of the customer and what they've looked at in the past. So great question, thank you. How quickly can you reverse the unfollow, unlike trend to your Facebook and Instagram? Yeah, I mean, it's gonna take some time. So if people have started to unfollow and unlike, it means you haven't been giving them the experience they've asked for. Either you're using content that you're using on all of your platforms and you're not making a good experience on Facebook and Instagram as per the social networks themselves. So you may again have to use paid advertising a little bit to initially get in front of users who have started to unfollow you or unliking you. It's a signal that you're not posting good enough content. So great question. On a case-by-case basis, I would say just make sure you're creating engaging posts, and you may again have to use some paid advertising in order to jump onto that. So good question. What are the tools that will help what are AI tools that will be helpful in marketing when it comes to social media? I think AI is going to have itself integrated into several different platforms. Again, I mean, we'll start to see that, engaged in, Push Engage's platform, for example, when it looked at Grapevine 6's tool. Again, it's using artificial intelligence to figure out what are the posts that are being currently most engaged on, for example, and what should I post to my customers. So it's really helpful in that regard. So I see artificial intelligence really being a good way in the future. If the brands currently aren't doing it today, they probably are going to be doing it in the future because we need content right away at the tips of our fingers to be sharing it directly to our customers when they're going to use it the most. So that's a great question. How would you generate qualified leads as opposed to marketing qualified leads for B2B products on LinkedIn? So that's a great question. I would use it in a couple ways. So number one, you want to become a product expert in anything that you are currently involved with. So if your product is an AI product, if it's a push notification product, if it's a mobile product, if it's a software product for social media, whatever it is, you need to create content for that type of industry. Write about that, become an expert, put a post out on LinkedIn every single day, or actually write an article for yourself about that type of content. And that's going to start to show you as a thought leader in that space, and people will start to see you as a go-to person, an intelligent expert that they want to talk to if they're going to be using that. So there's a pull by pulling people in with your content that way. But I would also use it before I ever send out an email or ever do a phone call, cold call, whatever, I will go over to a user's page and I will find 2 to 3 relevant things that will help me build a relationship with my customers. So like, number one, did we ever work at the same place? Do we have any relevant connections that we're connected with each other? Did we ever live in the same city? Did we ever sell the same product or maybe use the same type of product in the past? Who knows? But I would use those as relevant points to either get a referral from that user. Referral selling is the best form of selling because it costs the least to actually utilize. So I would focus on referral-based selling on LinkedIn to actually generate leads, and also to help you understand your consumer more on LinkedIn so that you can utilize it in your sales process. So that's fantastic. Great question. What strategies do you use to generate leads? So yeah, so I've been talking a lot about that. I like to make video a lot more now. So you'll see me doing a lot more video and uncut video. A lot of it is I'm just using my smartphone and make sure I'm staying engaged with my audience by creating small video snippets that will go live on Instagram and Facebook. And then I'll put in my more published and polished videos directly onto YouTube, and I'll use those all as ways to push customers back to my website and get them there. That's how e-commerce works. That's how any business is. We want to own the data. We want them visiting to us. We want them subscribing to receive our notifications so that when we make a change to our website or platform, they can ultimately, opt in to receive those. So that's great. So I think that would be a good strategy to engage with people. What are the best way to get your customers involved and engaged? Well, Ria, that's a good question. I think that's going to depend on what they're engaged with. So I know that came up quite a while ago, right at the beginning of the session. But I did go over that and looking at what are my customers actually liking? Are they liking live video? Are they liking photos with captions on it? Are they liking polls? And finding out what they're actually like the best, and then utilize that as a way to help drive you to understanding them. So if you personally don't have an Instagram business page, just because you become a business doesn't change your profile any way, shape, or form. It doesn't tell the user, oh, this is a business profile right here. So don't be afraid to change your personal profile into a business profile and then start getting analytics that way. So if you haven't done that, go into your profile settings and go down to the bottom and say business page, yes. And then they might ask you to make sure you have everything filled out, like you have an email in there, et cetera, et cetera. And if you do, a link to your website, for example, it might ask to have that in your profile. If you do, then you're eligible to be a business user, and you can use those analytics to drive engagement through posting. And then how do social media companies do social media marketing between B2B and B2C company? How does it differ? Well, it differs just in terms of where your customer is at the time, I think. If you're B2B, you'll find that a lot of your consumers are probably using LinkedIn throughout the day to network with other customers. Whereas your standard B2C customer is probably going to be using Facebook or Instagram or something like that. So great question. You're going to have to go with your analytics and, poll your customers, maybe do that for one of your polls on Instagram or on Facebook or Twitter and ask, what social network are you spending the most time on? And what you can do is gather that data and find out where they're at. So then that'll tell you where you should actually be at the end of the day. Going forward, how to effectively use hashtags to improve reach? Great question, Vignesh. I think you need to figure out on Instagram, it's really nice. I love the fact that they actually tell you how many people have been engaging with this particular hashtag to ultimately allow you to see that data. So it's a really good way to do that. So I would say use Instagram, and also there's some tools that you can leverage. I can't give you a name off the top of my head, but if you go on to Google and type in best free Instagram hashtag generator or best free Facebook or Instagram hashtag generator, it'll say, well, okay, tell me what your products are you interested in? And you say, let's say a product in this space, for example. or people that are doing push notifications or web notifications or something like that. And it will give you a list of all the most used hashtags currently in that space. And you can say, oh, wow, okay, I wouldn't have guessed that one. Interesting. I'm going to take this hashtag, this hashtag, this hashtag, and I'll employ it in my hashtag strategy. So use a hashtag generator to help you gather data. And then on a personalized basis, look what your customers are doing and engaging with as you go. So therefore you can look at that. So that's a great question. Thank you, Arjun. So just going to cycle up to the top and get a couple of these that we haven't done. All right. So Raul, okay, oh, we talked about that already. Okay, which is the most important thing to be successful with Push Engage? Well, there we had Push Engage jumping in, talking about that, benchmarking your playbook for how to optimize subscriptions, rates, picking the right campaigns, all of that stuff is going to factor in. So I think talking with them will be very, very good for you if you haven't already.
Julia, if you don't mind, I can take like 30 seconds and answer that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so I think I did answer that. I think the key is segmenting and sending automated and personalized notifications. The key is 1:1 notification so that it's super personalized for the user. That's the number one thing. And then while you're making the playbook for going live, we have like the best practice. How do you gather subscription, or how do you which campaign to put in which industry, given we see thousands of industries and thousands of business types. So you can talk to us, and our customer success team can say, hey, we know in this industry, these are the top 3 campaigns. So just you can start from those ones from the day one. And then we have this benchmark report, which you can see, okay, am I doing against the benchmark? So that's just a summary. And of course, you can talk to us. Over to you, Ben.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Rob. All right. Haley, just getting started. Facebook is definitely my target. Yeah, for a lot of us, for sure. Have rebranding sites shifted the focus to be very tangible issue? And can you give me 3 places to start with? Thanks. Yeah, I think for a lot of us, Facebook is going to be our market space that we're wanting to be living in, especially if we think of like, if our product is oriented around middle-agers or boomers or anything like that, we're definitely going to want to be on Facebook. Younger users in their teenagehood and early 20s are likely to be on Instagram, maybe a little bit more, but hey, they're still using Facebook at an alarming rate as well. So I would just say, go on, first things first, make sure you have a good profile. Make sure that you use something like canva.com to create yourself a nice Facebook background. Make sure your profile image looks good or your brand image looks good. Get that all out, up. Make sure your profile is built out and filled out completely. And then watch and look and check out other brands, how they've been running their Facebook pages. See what content seems to be being liked by other people, so that you can say, wow, that's an interesting topic. I didn't even think about that. That's a good mix that I should try out. And then just slowly start getting creative with your content. People aren't going to mind up front if you make a few mistakes because, hey, you don't have subscribers yet. You have to build those up. So just get on there and try putting out content that allows you to gather data that you can use on a regular basis. So get out there, build your profile out, complete it, make sure it's image and branded well, and focus definitely on 3 places on your profile. And you talked about rebranding sites. You're going to want to remarket for sure. I don't know if you've heard of the Facebook tracking pixel, but what it allows you to do essentially is drop a little pixel onto your website and target content specifically at those consumers. So what it might do is say, hey, Julio visited my website. What I'm going to do is any first-time user who lands on my website, I want to share them this type of content. So therefore, you'll create a Facebook ad, and only new subscribers or new users will receive that information. Outside of that, if they visit specific pages, like a specific product on your website, then your Facebook tracking pixel on that page will know. So if you actually went to Red running shoes or pepperoni pizza or something like that, it would actually know, okay, this person right here looked at our pepperoni pizza but didn't buy it, or looked at our pair of shoes but didn't buy them or put them in the cart. So what you might want to do is like throw over a nice discount ad to them that gives 10% off if they come back to your website, and do it that way. So I would just go on and say, type in best practices for remarketing using Facebook, and learn about the tracking pixel, how to implement it onto your website, and how to really segment your customers by use case. So is it products that you're selling? Okay, if they're visiting and seeing products, you can easily segment your customers by new product views. And every time they view a product of yours, send them a specific ad on Facebook that will be remarketed. And it will increase your engagement rate on posts and increase your engagement to your website, on your brand, on your content like never before. So that's a great question. I hope that helps. Deb, is it good to upload a video on YouTube and share it across other platforms, or upload the same video? And so that's a great thing to do. What I would say is try and form a actual relatively lengthy good piece of content at least once a week or every couple days on YouTube, and then cut it up into small segments like 1 minute to 2 minute videos, and share those on your other social networks. So it's going to depend on your goal. Is your goal to get engagement going on YouTube? Is it to visit your website? Whatever the call to action is. But for most of us, it's going to get users to click on our YouTube page, where they can become subscribers and start to engage with us on our posts on YouTube. So I would say best practice is upload a video to YouTube. Within the first 1 to 2 hours of that video being uploaded, you should have separate smaller pieces of content that you should then post to Facebook and Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever, driving people to your YouTube channel, because it looks at recency as in its algorithm changes. So you're going to want to post those split up and then drive them to the video. So that's how my suggestion would be. Great question. Thank you, Deb. All right, Varna. When someone shares your content, does their engagement count as yours? If not, wouldn't hurt your engagement, as those engagements have counted for your post. Yeah, so if they share your posts, then if anybody clicks on it, they get brought immediately to your post. So they're essentially being vessels to highlight your community. So if somebody clicks on the actual post, then they're going to be engaged at the point of contact more often than not. So does it immediately count? No, if they engage with somebody else's post, the content would be theirs, but it's actually just a natural reaction for people to go directly to the content or the posts and be more active there. So that's a great question. It's going to help no matter what. So if somebody shares their content, not uploaded natively and shares it out, but actually takes your link and has reshared it that way, it's going to drive people to the page that you want them to, or to your post. So I would say have people share your content that way. And of course, they will want to share it natively and organically themselves too. But if you have company related content, have them try to push them to people who are on your Facebook page all day, managing your community. So that's a great question. Can we attach a downloadable brochure with the video? Absolutely. I think that's fantastic. So how can we attach a downloadable brochure with the video? 100%. It depends on which website you're looking at. But one way you can do that is in the description details of your YouTube page. You can actually put a downloadable brochure. So maybe you built it with, I don't know, HubSpot, or like wherever it has a downloadable link to. You can say, I do have a brochure available for the video. It's located in my description. Go down there and check it out for you. Go download that. So that's a great way to actually attach a brochure with a video. Same on Facebook. In your caption, Facebook caption list, or description, sorry, you can actually put that same video or caption, leading people to click through, that they can go and download your brochure. So can you do it directly into your posts? Not always. but a good way is to just use those videos as a form of, hey, check out my link. I put it in the description below or in the description above on Facebook. I put a nice advertisement or a brochure that you may want to download. Just follow that link and go check it out and download it. Great question. Thank you, Deb. Appreciate it. I will engage with that post and give it some love. And I should practice what I preach, everybody on the line that's still with us. Make sure you should do and share some love with your peers and smash their like buttons and upvote their posts and give everybody a little bit of a hand as well. And I think you'll find as a business or a brand, the more that you tell people and ask people for engagement or to give you a hand, the more they're going to do it. So as long as you're not afraid to engage with them, that's okay. Okay, and just to wrap up, a couple more here. Is there a way to automatically include a customer's name on a push notification? I'll leave that to Push Engage for that. Because
shall I take like a 30 seconds? So yes, there is a way. We answered. There is a thing called attributes. Just like, you have dynamic fields in email marketing, we have the same. So if you can get the data while the user is browsing or elsewhere, you can do that, absolutely. And you can check our blog or contact us, and we can walk you through how to do that in your campaigns.
Great. Thank you, Hallie. Appreciate it. I do try and be direct and keep your mind and time in a very valuable spot for myself. So I try to get you to, and offer tips that are tangible, quick, value added to your lifestyle and usage of social media. So hopefully I did that for you today. Vignesh, do stories on Instagram and reach help improve? Reach 100%, 100%. You want to use, great question. Thank you for that. I'll definitely give you a like up for that one for sure. Yes, it looks at all of that stuff. So organize and make sure your timeline looks pristine and has nice stories built out for your audience members so they can see what you've talked about. Is it, let's just say like summer or this city or this product, like shoes, accessories, fashion, and block it out like that so people have a really nice view of your profile when they go there and check things out. So that's a great question. Deb, how can increase a game app downloads from iOS or Apple Store from YouTube gameplay videos? So that's a great one. Again, I'm going to say make sure you put your app link directly in your description of every single video and make sure you mention it in every single video. If you want to try the app, it's actually available in the Apple Store and the Android Store. For a link to both of those, check out the content in this description below, or you can go directly to the link as you see it on the page right now. Again, it's easy for them to click directly to the links spot on those pages. So it's great to make sure you put that in to the description of every single video and reference it there in every single video. So people will go to it and you'll start to see more users say, oh, cool, I enjoyed this content. I actually probably will download it too. I think it can solve my use case. So you'll find you're gonna get a lot more clicks from your videos there. So great, appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Karen, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed today. I certainly did with everyone. It's Friday. How could we not have fun with each other on Fridays? For sure. Please make sure, everybody, you do connect with me on LinkedIn, on Twitter, etc. I'm always there for everybody, so I appreciate all of those fantastic questions. Well, there's still some more coming in. Thank you, Vinod. I appreciate it. Quite fruitful. Varna, I'll answer your question before we jump off. Should a business service company use TikTok as a platform, given its rise in popularity? See, I am going to say I don't know, because I don't know who you're selling to. So right now, TikTok is just flying off, right? With in terms of, I don't know, folks that are your Generation Zers. If that's who you're focused on, anyone in the teenage years or anybody like going into their 20s, I would say you have to be on TikTok, 100%. I would say if your business is focused on baby boomers, Generation X, focused like that, I would say probably it's not the best place to be right now. But it's taking off and it's proven it's not going anywhere. So I would try and find a way. If you're a B2B service company, you know what? I'm not sure I would be on TikTok, other than making sure that maybe you, as somebody who wants to be known as an expert in the brand, you actually use TikTok to show yourself on video talking about the brand, and therefore driving engagement around you, the brand itself, the product that you sell, and things like that. So I would definitely be thinking about, as a person or an individual, creating an expert profile of people that might want to follow you on other social networks, as a personal user on TikTok. As a brand, I'm not quite sold unless, again, your focus is on millennials, to be your user base. So I would definitely say it as that way, case by case basis. B2B, very hard to say. I recommend you actually spending your time to do it, unless you're going to do it for yourself, to start creating an expert session. So thank you very much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your time together today. I certainly did. I definitely wanted to be as quick as I could, because it's much more useful to have a conversation around everything. So hopefully you took some tips and tricks to create engaging content on our social networks, and some really cool tools from today that you might not have used or heard from in the past, or considered them, and just haven't used them in the past. So again, big shout out to Grapevine 6, to Canva, to Facebook tracking pixels, and of course to Push Engage for hosting the webinar and for creating an amazing web notification app system. So yes, big shout out to everybody for that. Thank you very much. And Rav, I'm going to send it over to you. And once again, happy Friday, everybody. Thank you very much. And have a great...
Yeah, thanks, Julio. It was amazing. I must say this engagement session on social media was very engaging. You can see by the number of questions. And so that's the real proof, when the tire hits the road. So I must say thank you so much. And I hope everybody had a good time. Again, we are available. If you had any Push Engage questions, you can ask us. And I'm sure Julio is available. He's very reachable on LinkedIn. Do connect with him and take his help. He's amazing. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend and stay safe. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.